Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Max Payne 3, no damage, old school run. This is chapter 5, and this is a very difficult level. This is the second example of a very difficult checkpoint, and the second example of me playing like a bitch. So, enjoy the frenetic gameplay while it lasts, guys. It's not going to last. This is a crazy gunfight. I really like the fight that happens here, but I really dislike the start of it. The game puts you in cover, and getting out of cover to fight these enemies is a work of art without trading a bullet. It just really, it was awkward. And then on this one, it starts you with this wonderfully powerful magnum. Once you take on those guys, there's going to be a dude to your right who climbs on a cargo crate and another guy that rushes you. You'll notice I immediately put the double pistols on because it's what I prefer to use. And I'm just giving it a couple seconds then so that these guys can get around, so when I shoot dodge I can kill them both. And then in the crates coming up, there's a guy to your right, there's a guy to his right, there's a guy to your left. It gets really hectic here, but it's a really fun checkpoint. I'm going to shoot him in the balls, by the way, spoiler alert. I don't usually do that. One of my rules for this run was to try and get as many headshots as I could. I wanted to, to make it look really sick, but every so often you've just got to put one in the old sack. So he goes down, there's a guy just over there. Piece of trivia as well, guys. Did you notice how I didn't fire on that guy immediately, even though I could have? The reason for that is because Max will not shoot them unless his arms are in the vicinity of them. You have to wait for his animation to turn, or you will fire the gun and it will hit nothing. And this happens a lot. If you're ever in a situation where you have a red indicator and you fire and the bullet doesn't hit them, it's because of animation stuff. And it happens all the time. Ooh, this checkpoint's weird as well. For this one, the moment you land after this shoot dodge, they spawn a guy bang next to you, and he just immediately guns you down. It's really fierce. I don't know why they do this, so you've got to be super quick because he comes out of nowhere. Look at him. The reason he didn't kill me then is because he fell down. And he fell down because he got scared because I fired. Every other attempt, he murdered me. It was really bizarre. There's not many examples of that kind of spawn, but that's a really bad one. But coming in here, this is a really fun section as well. There's just a weird part at the end of it which I wish was a little bit different. So once you've killed all these guys, there's that guy behind there, and then there's a guy on the balcony that comes out, and I've just made a transition then because I ran in the other room thinking you just had to move onwards, and the only person left was him up there. So I apologise that there was a transition there, guys, but it trims out about 20 seconds of me fucking about and picking weapons up because I thought the fight was over. And then this is ridiculous. This is a tough fight, and it's a hectic fight, and the spawns are just ridiculous. But watch this. There's no planet where this should have been possible. This was a really fun one. So I'm shoot dodging just to try and pick off as many guys as I can. I know there's a couple more guys that are going to spawn over there, and they all kind of stand in the out area on that point. So I shoot dodge back into cover, I shoot dodge out of cover, I see that guy just then. I push forward knowing that there's enemies everywhere here, so I'm not safe. I get the kill on him, see that guy there somehow, put him down, see that guy there, get very lucky just then with the shots he was putting my way, dive to finish him off, turn around, see two guys behind me. Where the hell were they? No idea. And at this point, I've almost given up on the run because I'm certain I'm going to get shot. So I'm just diving for everything I can. Two more guys on that section. Like, just absolute bonkers. And that was the end of the fight. It didn't do a slow motion kill. What happened is I spent ages running around trying to find the last guy, and I had to examine a fence. So it looks like an edit, because it is, because I edited that moment out. And then this is the really tough checkpoint. Well, technically not this one, but the one after this. So once you shoot that guy, this boat will turn up. If you do not kill those two gunners, you will take damage. The gunners on that boat are the most accurate things I've ever seen in my entire life. They are absolutely ridiculous. So this fight right here is going to be me being quite tentative, and the reason is I didn't think there was a checkpoint, and I was really happy to be past that boat because the boat was pissing me off. Turns out, once you kill these guys, you push through a fence and you get a checkpoint really quickly. So it was a little bit of my inexperience with the game because I've not played it for about 5 years. Maybe longer, actually. But this is an unfortunate incident of me playing like a bitch. And if you've never seen this technique before and you're wondering exactly what I'm doing, I'm angling the camera so that they cannot see me and I can shoot them. and it's something that has been in third-person shooters for a very long time. It's one of those mechanics that you either love it or you either hate it. I don't really mind it, I've used it for so long, it doesn't bother me. But here is the next fight, and here is the really difficult section. So there's going to be 2 guys that attack you, and then after these 2 guys there's going to be a boat. If you do not kill the gunners on this boat, you have to reset. And sometimes hitting these guys on the boat is really difficult to do. I had one attempt where I killed them both without using bullet time, and it looks like the sexiest thing on the planet, and then this black dude on the boat shot me, even though this time it's a different man. One of the features of this game is it seems to randomize the appearance of the enemies sometimes. So sometimes you'll have, you know, like a random like Panamanian fella, other times you'll have some Brazilian gangbanger. It's all over the place. It's kind of like, you know, in Resident Evil 5, how there was, instead of just a ton of black people in Africa, they gave you the random Chinese guy and the Saddam Hussein man. It's a little bit like that, only not as silly and strange. But this is where I'm going to get real bitchified, guys. You thought it was bitchy before, you ain't seen shit. The amount of times I got tagged by somebody I couldn't see was off the charts, so I'm just not risking it at all. And once again, folks, I wish I could remove these because they're not really in the spirit of the run, but sometimes you have to do it. And the way that I would prefer it to work is I would prefer it so that when you come over here, you don't get people spawning on that pier opposite us. I think it should just be the 2 guys in the left and the boat, and then after you do that, if it gave you a checkpoint for the final run, it would have been fine, and then all of this would have been me jumping around shoot dodging. But about the 5th time I shot dodge into the water and got shot by that dude in the cutscene, I decided I can't do this. I'm just going to play like a pussy Chris, get it over with, and then get back to the fun sections. And this building is going to be my lighthouse, because the spawns in this section are very deliberate, that when you cross the area you'll hear a noise. So you'll notice I try to shoot to provoke them, it doesn't work. When you step onto this crossing divider, whatever you want to call this walkway, you'll hear, as you get to about the middle of it, people spawning in front of you behind that boat. The moment I hear that, I run back over here to the cover, and I do this because I know they will not push me and they will not be able to shoot me, and I can out-angle all of them. And once again, folks, it's undecidedly cowardly, and I'm not even going to defend it, but it's just how I feel. Give me a good checkpoint and I will do everything I can to give you good footage. Give me a bad one and I'll do this. But it's funny too, because the spawns aren't that bad. There's a couple of them, it's a lot to do on one checkpoint when the enemies hit you through everything. Like, I've been shot where I'm stood right now, by people on that pier. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And one of the things that tends to happen in a run such as this is when you start taking damage a lot, and you start repeating sections a lot, you start to doubt yourself. And you can only do something like this if you're confident, because your confidence is the thing that keeps you going. You know, when you know you can win, it's the greatest motivator. But right now there's 2 spawns left. There's a spawn that's going to happen when I walk forward on the end of that platform, which is another couple of guys. And then there's the boat spawn, but the boat only spawns when you run to the left of the boat that's across that walkway. At this moment in time I didn't know this, and there was a lot of... I did have the impulse to go back and record a cleaner version of this, which I could totally do, but I hate this section. I've always hated it. I didn't like it on my hardcore walkthrough, and I didn't like it on this. It's just one of the parts of the game that disagrees with me. And that's fine, you know, everyone's going to have those moments. Compare this to the chapter that's coming up, chapter 6, which has some of my favourite gunfights in them, and those gunfights are really challenging, but they're also immaculately checkpointed, and they're really fun. And it's just one of those interesting, you know, vacillations. But the lightning started irritating me when I was playing this, because it flashes quite a lot, and you know when you're trying to concentrate and it's flashing and your reflexes are all highly strung? Because at any moment right now I'm just thinking I'm going to get shot and I have to do this again. And it's a problem with me, guys. I don't like replaying anything, and it's bizarre because I've spent over 30 hours on a single boss in Bloodborne, just grinding and grinding and grinding until I can get what I want, yet the idea of repeating 2 to 3 minutes worth of gameplay on a sequence like this, it's unbearable, and I've no idea why my brain works that way. I don't understand. I was once stuck on a boss on Lost Planet for about 4 months, and I tried it every day. Yet, the idea of repeating a 4 to 5 minute section, don't want to do it. It's the most bizarre thing. And I can't really explain where it's come from. I don't know if it's because games have become so accessible, we've been spoiled with checkpoints. I don't know if it's because I didn't play enough of the arcade games where you had to 1 credit clear. I don't know what it is. There's just certain things that I'm very difficult at motivating myself to do. Like, if you give me a gunfight where I start in the gunfight and there's 20 enemies and it's like 2 minutes of solid, insane action, I will gladly spend the rest of my life trying to beat it. But you give me something like this, and nope. So right now, the boat's going to spawn when I push forward here, and you're going to see abject desperation. So I miss almost every shot there, and I kill him. That was pretty lucky. And then if you listen, somebody was still shooting at me, even though both of them were dead, because they dropped their gun, which is terrifying. And you might wonder, Chris, yes, I've been hit by a dropped gun. It was some True Lies levels of bullshit. But that's it. And it's not the longest of sequences, it's not the most impressive sequence, but there you go. And then this moment right now, guys, is 1000% impossible to no damage. There is no dodge, there is no cover, and there is no conceivable way to shoot these targets quick enough to take no damage from them. And it's not that you can't aim fast enough, it's that these boats will shoot you before they're even on your screen. So even if you were Shroud on crack, and you could one frame every single one of them the moment they spawned, you will still get shot because you physically cannot see where they're coming from. But the transition now goes towards some Molotovs. There's a couple of people on the boat in front. Feel free to take them out with some shots. You get a lot of bullet time on this section because you're getting shot a lot. And it's one of the things I didn't realise that balances the game. When you don't take damage, you don't accrue a lot of bullet time unless you sit in cover and let people shoot at you. And one of the things this game does a lot, which I really disagree with, is sometimes it starts you with bullet time, and sometimes it doesn't, but there doesn't seem to be any consistency. And there'll be moments where you'll restart a checkpoint, and you'll do the same thing you did before, and after the action, you'll have like half a bar. But then on the previous attempt, you didn't even have a quarter. So it's really weird about how it shells out its rewards, and it's something that I don't really know too much of because I'm not a speedrunner of this game. I don't play this game religiously. I decided to do a no damage run of this because I thought it was a really fun game. It took me 12 hours to do this. 12 hours in the grand scheme of learning a game is not a long time, you know? So I can't tell you every minutiae and every subtle nuance of it, but what I can do is show you some of the cool stuff that happened when I was recording. And this is a really fun sequence, I like these modes. The only way that I would change this mode is by enabling Max to go into cover. It'd be really nice if I could control where I am and my positioning like you do in, you know, the Uncharted sections on the convoys. And that way you could no damage this. You might have to play like a bitch, but I'm willing to do that just to be able to get through it without taking a bullet. Because can you imagine how different Max Payne's life would have been if he'd have took no damage and took no painkillers? He wouldn't be addicted to painkillers. He might be in a better place. We might have single-handedly saved his soul, who knows? But this is a good example as well. There are 3 trucks right now shooting at me. 4 trucks, sorry. How the fuck do you shoot 4 trucks in the space of a second without getting shot? It just doesn't work. Like, if they gave you unlimited bullet time, maybe, I reckon you could have a lot of fun with that, but there's no world in hell they're going to give you that much bullet time. Even on one of the most bullet time intensive sections later on, they don't give you that much. But I'm wondering if there's going to be many comments about, oh, you took damage on this sequence. Because the guy that I referenced in the previous video, a guy called Jammer, he was mentioning that technically in his mind, the boat is not Max, and it's the boat that's taking damage. So Max is intact, and his no damage integrity is still there. This is a section as well that's impossible, even if you could somehow do this, because you get shot before people are even around the bushes. They shoot you through the trees. And you can't react to this kind of stuff. I'd love to see somebody try and do it, like, don't get me wrong, there's probably somebody crazy enough to try and do it, spend a couple thousand hours just grinding it, but that person is not me. But they are fun. And I'd completely forgot about these vehicle sections from the last time I played the game. But here is the boat. This is a really interesting section because there's times when you have to shoot all of these people before it progresses, and there's times when the game just progresses for you. Like right now, I'm doing a really bad job of hitting these people and my gun's overheating and I'm getting the hit markers, and it's kind of an overwhelming moment, and then it just immediately cuts to you driving through the end of this sequence. It's like just then. So there's a party that wants to restart and maybe get a cleaner run, and then you see the checkpoint and you think, yeah, fuck that. But here we go. Will I shoot the lady? Here we go. How many can we get? There's the first guy. There's the second guy. There's the third guy. There's the fourth guy. Don't shoot the lady. There's the fifth guy. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you can forgive my passivity. And as always, you take care now.